Reading through the Bible in 1 year, June 7th, Deuteronomy chapter 12, Psalms 95 through 96, Isaiah 39, and Revelation chapter 9. You shall therefore love Yahweh your God, and keep his charge, his statutes, his judgments, and his commandments all your days. So know this day that I am not speaking with your sons who have not known and who have not seen the discipline of Yahweh your God, his greatness, his strong hand and his outstretched arm, and his signs and his wonders which he did in the midst of Egypt, to Pharaoh the king of Egypt and to all his land, and what he did to Egypt's army, to its horses and its chariots, when he made the water of the Red Sea to engulf them while they were pursuing you. And Yahweh made them perish utterly. And what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, when the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them among all Israel. But your own eyes have seen the great work of Yahweh which he did. You shall therefore keep every commandment which I am commanding you today, so that you may be strong and go in and possess the land into which you are about to cross to possess it, so that you may prolong your days on the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give to them and to their seed, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land into which you are entering to possess it is not like the land of Egypt from which you came out, where you used to sow your seed and water it with your foot like a vegetable garden. But the land into which you are about to cross to possess it, a land of hills and valleys, drinks water from the rain of heaven, and a land for which Yahweh your God cares. The eyes of Yahweh your God are always on it, from the beginning even to the end of the year. And it will be that, if you listen obediently to my commandments, which I am commanding you today, to love Yahweh your God and to serve him with all your heart and all your soul, that I, Yahweh, will give you the rain for your land in its season, the early and the late rains, so that you may gather in your grain at your new wine and your oil, and your new wine and your oil. And I will give grass in your fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Beware lest your hearts be deceived, and you turn away and serve other gods and worship them, and the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you. And he will shut up the heavens, so that there will be no rain, and the ground will not yield its fruit, and you will perish quickly from the good land which Yahweh is giving you. You shall therefore place these words of mine on your heart and on your soul, and you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as phylacteries between your eyes. And you shall teach them to your sons, speaking of them, and when you sit in your house, and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your sons may be multiplied on the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give to them, as long as the heavens remain above the earth. For if you are careful to keep this entire commandment, which I am commanding you to do, to love Yahweh your God, and to walk in all his ways, and to cling to him, then Yahweh will dispossess all these nations from before you, and you will dispossess nations greater and mightier than you. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours, your border your border will be from the wilderness to Lebanon, and from the river Euphrates, as far as the western sea. No man will be able to stand before you. Yahweh, your God, will put the dread of you and the fear of you on all the land on which you set your foot, as he has spoken to you. See, I'm setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, which I am commanding you today. And the curse, if you do not listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, but turn aside from the way which I am commanding you today, by walking after other gods which you have not known. And it will be, when Yahweh your God brings you into the land where you are entering to possess it, that you shall set the blessing on Mount Gerizim, and the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not across the Jordan, west of the way toward the sunset, in the land of the Canaanites who live in the Arabah, opposite Gilgal, beside the oaks of Moreh? For you are about to cross the Jordan to go in to possess the land which Yahweh your God is giving you, and you shall possess it and live in it. You shall be careful to do all the statutes and the judgments which I am setting before you today. Let's move on now to Psalms 95 through 96. O come, let us sing for joy to Yahweh. Let us make a loud shout to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a loud shout to him with songs of praise. For Yahweh is a great God, and a great King above all gods, in whose hand are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are his also. The sea is his, for it was he who made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Yahweh our Maker, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as at Meribah, as in the day of Massah in the wilderness. When your fathers tried me, they tested me, for though they had seen my work. Starting over, verse 9. When your fathers tried me, both at Meribah and at Massah, they tested me, though they had seen my work. For 40 years I loathed that generation. I said, they are a people who wander in their heart, and they do not know my ways. Therefore I swore in my anger, they shall never enter my rest, or enter into my rest. Psalm 96. Sing to Yahweh a new song. Sing to Yahweh all the earth. Sing to Yahweh, bless his name. Proclaim good news of his salvation from day to day. Recount his glory among the nations, his wondrous deeds among the peoples, among all the peoples. For great is Yahweh, and greatly to be praised. He is more fearsome than all the gods. For all the gods of the peoples are idols. But Yahweh made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary. Ascribe to Yahweh, O families of the peoples. Ascribe to Yahweh glory and strength. Ascribe to Yahweh the glory of his name. Lift up an offering and come into his courts. Worship Yahweh in the splendor of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth. Say among the nations, Yahweh reigns. Indeed, the world is established. It will not be shaken. He will render justice to the peoples with equity. Let the heavens be glad. Let the earth rejoice. Let the sea roar as well as all its fullness. Let the field exult and all that is in it. Then all the trees of the forest will sing for joy before Yahweh, for he is coming to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness and the peoples in his faithfulness. Now Isaiah 39. At that time, Merodach-Baladan, son of Baladan, the king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he heard that he had been sick and was growing stronger. And Hezekiah was glad about these things, and showed them, the emissaries who came with the letter, all his treasure house, the silver and the gold and the spices and the good oil, and his whole armory, and all that was found in his treasuries. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah did not show to these emissaries of another nation. I don't know if you know this. You don't show everyone all of your secrets from another nation. Yep. Verse 3, then Isaiah the prophet came to King Hezekiah and said to him, What did these men say? And from where have they come to you? And Hezekiah, stating or attesting to his pride, said, they have come to me from a far country, from Babylon. And he said, and what have they seen in your house? So Hezekiah said, they have seen all that is in my house. There is nothing among my treasuries that I have not shown them. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, hear the word of Yahweh of hosts. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house and all that your fathers have treasured up to this day will be carried to Babylon. Nothing will be left, says Yahweh. And some of your sons who will issue from you, whom you will beget, will be taken away, and they will become officials in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, the word of Yahweh which you have spoken is good. For he said, for there will be peace and truth in my days. Did not take responsibility. All right, let's move on to Revelation chapter 9. Once again, we're in a prophetic book. Lots of notes, questions, concerns. That's why they're there. Verse 1, then the fifth angel sounded. Then I saw a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the pit of the abyss was given to him. And he opened the pit of the abyss, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given them, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And they were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only the men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not permitted to kill anyone, but to torment for 5 months. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days men will seek death and will never find it. And they will long to die, and death flees from them. And the appearance of the locust was like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. And they had hair like the hair of women, and their teeth were like the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots, of many horses running to battle. And they have tails like scorpions and stings, and in their tails is the power to hurt men for 5 months. And they have as a king over them the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he has the name Apollyon. Then the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the altar, rather of the golden altar, which is before God, one saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the 4 angels who have been bound at the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were released, who had been prepared for the day, rather for the hour and day and month and year, so that they would kill 1/3 of mankind. The number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them. And this is how I saw in the vision the horses and those who sit on them. The riders had breastplates the color of fire and of hyacinth and of brimstone. And the heads of the horses are like heads of lions, and out of their mouths come fire and smoke and brimstone. 1/3 of mankind was killed by these 3 plagues, by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which came out from their mouths. For the power of the horses is in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails are like serpents, having heads, and with them they do harm. And the rest of mankind, who were not killed by these plagues, did not repent of the works of their hands, so as not to worship demons and the idols of gold and of silver and of brass and of stone and of wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. So in spite of all of these great things God is doing, they still don't repent. And they did not repent of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their sexual immorality, nor of their thefts. All right. That's it. That is all the notes, and that is all the text for today. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.